Welcome to the Hope City Drip. This is a podcast of our local church where our intention with doing a podcast like this is to just give you guys a little bit of conversation about the mission and the vision of our local church. And so whether you're someone who has a long commute and you're driving, 40, 45 minutes, whatever it is, to your job, and you need some content that is encouraging, gospel-centered, or you're a mom and you have littles running around and you want something that you can have on in the background, you can press pause and do whatever you need to. We just hope that this podcast serves to help you live for the glory of Jesus and the joy of your local community. And I'm here with, what's your name?
Ben Parker.
And my name is Nick Powell. And we are going to talk about, this time on the podcast, we're going to talk about our next move as a church into a new space. So I'm super excited. We're currently meeting at St. Irenaeus Community Center or Cultural Center. I forget exactly what they call it, but the Historical Society owns the old St. Irenaeus Church. Mm-hmm. And we are renting that from them. And it's been good. It's a beautiful church, but it doesn't have heat in it. It's an old brute of a building and
absolutely beautiful,
gorgeous.
brute.
Yeah,
absolutely
big beaut. But those of you who know, have you been in the basement? Yeah. So there's this old room, right, that is used to be a boiler room, and I don't know if you knew this, that the boiler serviced both that church building and the school that was right next to it. So it was a big behemoth, like one of the big octopus-looking ones, I'm sure. And they tore that out because it's old and it just wasn't functioning. And they tore that school got torn down a while ago, so it didn't make sense to have that huge boiler. And so they're in the process of redoing and updating and modernizing the HVAC. Well, we're not going to heat. What do we got? We're not going to pay for them to put in a new heating system and all that stuff. It just doesn't make sense for us to get to the place where we have heat in that giant space. Our church, we need something a little bit more, our size. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so we're moving into a space that is the old Eagles Club. And that is right next to 392 Coffee Shop. So the old timers, if there's anybody older than our parents' age, or our parents' age, parents' age and older, they would have probably been there when it was the Eagles Club at a wedding or something. But for those of us that are maybe a little younger or we've been down there, we know that area more as the place where 392 Coffee Shop is. Mm-hmm. And it's the building right next to it. So it's this old corner building that used to be the location of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. And I don't believe they've met there for, maybe 10 years.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly when they disbanded.
Once, maybe twice. When it was
You've been in there when it was wedding venue or whatever?
No, I went into the bar.
Oh, when it was a bar?
I was meeting someone had to run in there, their parents or somewhere, were in there, so we had to go talk with them or something.
Nice, yeah.
But I never went to the bingo side or, upstairs. Yeah. But the Titanic room.
Yeah. So the ownership has transferred, and it's a space that we can rent for an affordable price, and it's going to be good for our mission. So just to lay out the conversation on kind of where we want to go is one of our stated goals as a local church is to, three. There's three. If we're kind of hitting the bullseye, the way you can picture this is a big target. You like to shoot arrows, right?
Yeah, I do.
You do. You like to hunt the deers with the bow and arrows. Mm-hmm. And if you're shooting a practice target, right, the bullseye of that target for our church, if we're hitting the goals and mission of our church, is we're reaching the lost, and we're planting churches, and we're renewing the city. So it's in our sort of mantra, right, that we want to be for the glory of Jesus and also the joy of Clinton. And so this is a cool opportunity. It's right down in the heart of Clinton, and we want to enter into that space and just do our humble part on helping renew and revitalize every square inch that we touch, which isn't a lot right now, but it's something. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to roll up our sleeves and help make the space ready for us to gather. And so, I don't know, what are you excited about moving locations to the Eagles Club?
I think I'm more excited that we're touching on that aspect of our values of the renewing the city and not just letting another building in Clinton rot away. We're taking something, and I mean, you guys were there. If you look on the Instagram, you saw the picture Nick posted of him and April removing drywall, or what were you guys removing on the...
Yeah, it was like the old stairwell going up to the... Which, by the way, I looked at the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. They call their what do they call their buildings where they meet at? Aries. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Oh, I saw that.
Aerie. An eyrie in nature is the lofty nest of any bird of prey, including eagles and hawks. In the Fraternal Order of Eagles, the term eyrie is the name of the building in which the members meet and hold events. So that nest, the lofty nest perched up there, right? The upstairs of that space is where the stairway going up there is what we expose the brick on. So over the years, this is exactly what happened. Like everywhere, downtown Clinton. If anybody's been into any downtown Clinton buildings, they're super old, and a lot of the people who have owned those buildings, instead of tearing off the old dilapidated finishings like floors and walls and ceilings, they just put on new stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like laminate. It's like roofing someone's house, and there's like 6 layers of shingles. The walls in that Eagles Club had what did it have on there? It had this like vinyl-ish kind of paneling, had some sort of paneling, and then behind that was some sort of, I think, drywall thing, and then behind that was what do they call that? Paneling, wood paneling, like you'd see in like a 60s basement. And then behind that was lath and plaster. So some guys that were working on it had already taken off like the first 3 layers. And so it was just down to crumbly lath and plaster. And so we saw the bricks and we're like, dude, let's take the lath and plaster off. So April and I did that.
So what's on the other side? Because that's on the west side of the staircase.
What? Yeah, west side.
So then what's on the other side? What did you guys? Is there brick on that side too?
Oh no, no brick there. So that's going to have to be drywalled over or something. It'll look great.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. Somebody else is more skilled than me is doing it. What else are we? So yeah, what else? What are you excited about?
Yeah, sorry.
Renewing the city
and just renewing a building and so yeah, there's a member of our church that they used to live on that block.
Yeah.
And she was talking about the stories of the heartbreak and the lost and the real life that is happening in that area in our city, and it's just really cool that we're going to be right in the middle of it and we're not. And just it's a great opportunity for us to reach the lost and spread the gospel and just love on our community.
Yeah. One of the things I like about being in that area of town is that if you're trying to do good work, like just think about just like good works, we're renewing old building, but like we're also participating in building relationships, like you said, with people who are like poverty impacted, folks that are hungry. Like there's people that live in that area that maybe wouldn't even be counted on like the census. They don't own property. They probably don't have like their names on their on the address or on their what do you call that? The lease. Yeah. But there's a lot of folks that live down there that I think are in need. And that's something that I think this church member pointed out. And there's the churches in that area are already doing kind of cool things. Like I think it's Zion used to do, if they don't still do, they did this like second or third Sunday of the month.
Yeah. And
they had a community meal and they would invite in community members. And so folks that were hungry or poverty impacted, they would come in and they would share a meal together. And I think that's super cool. And some of those things work best when you're actually located there. You know what I mean? Because we could fly in and I mean, it doesn't matter where our Sunday morning location is. We could just like drive in and do events, serve those folks. But I think there's an added incentive when you also just like, that's your space.
It's like authentic that we're there. And
it's like living down there. You know, like if you lived down there, I think you'd see things with new eyes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm excited because I know we're going to do like community meals like that, and just thinking of those kind of like picnic parties, I guess, whatever you want, like just to paint a picture of what they'd be, and just to mainly do that kind of stuff. Just the simple works of Jesus.
The simple works of Jesus. So one of the things I find interesting about just a little history of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles. We're not renting the space because we care all that much about trying to unearth every nuance of the history of the Eagles Club. But I was just doing a little Googling, and there's some interesting things about the Eagles. Their organizational mission statement.
So cool.
The Fraternal Order of the Eagles is an international nonprofit organization uniting fraternally in the spirit of liberty, truth, justice, and equality to make human life more desirable by lessening its ills and promoting peace, prosperity, gladness, and hope. And I love when you read the history on their website. It says that it was founded in 1898. That's an old organization. And it was founded by, it says 6 theater owners gathered in Seattle shipyard to discuss a musician's strike. After addressing the matter. See, I thought the Eagles Club was like a AMVETS. I thought it was veterans.
Yeah, I guess I never knew what it was, what they were standing for.
I didn't either.
Were.
I didn't know either. It says after addressing the matter, they agreed to bury the hatchet and form the Order of Good Things. So that was what it was originally called, was the Order of Good Things. As numbers grew, members selected the bald eagle as the official emblem and changed the name to the Fraternal Order of Eagles. The Women's Auxiliary traces its roots to 1927. So at one time it had 800,000 members, which is pretty cool. That's big.
That is big.
That's why, makes sense why Clinton would have one. And some major accomplishments. They founded Mother's Day. Not everyone can say that.
I think only one person can say they founded
Mother's Day. So they were also the driving force behind Social Security, which is interesting. Distributed 10 Commandments monoliths across the United States.
I saw there's one in the Denver, like in the state capitol building in Denver or something like that.
10 Commandment monolith. Interesting.
I think there's one in Texas as well, in Austin. I think. But that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Noteworthy members are Theodore Roosevelt, Warren G. Harding, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, John Kennedy. I mean, come on. Ronald Reagan. It's like everybody.
He had me sold at Teddy Roosevelt. Like, come on.
Tony Stewart, NASCAR driver. Come on. This is the kind of mantle that we're taking on and walking into, right? We're stepping into the footsteps of giants here.
So we're putting stained glass images of Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, Tony Stewart. Liberty University. No, not Liberty. There's a Southern Baptist University that did that with their president, and he's now like disgraced. He had like a huge moral failure and fallout, but they had like stained glass windows of him and his family in like the chapel. Paige Patterson, that's who it was. I think it was at Southwestern. Anyways, if you know, you know. Noteworthy members. Billy Ray Cyrus.
That's what we should do on the stairway opposite
Tony Stewart.
The stairwell opposite the brick.
Right.
Let's do like a mural of all the famous members.
There we go.
Tony Stewart with an American flag, high-fiving Dale Earnhardt.
I was just going to say, we need Dale Earnhardt. We need the Intimidator on there. He's not even on this list. But we need, if we're going to talk about NASCAR.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're trying to reach Clinton, Iowa, and I know a lot of people that like NASCAR and Tony Stewart. Actually, I don't really know a lot of people who like Tony Stewart, but I'm just assuming that he's a crowd favorite.
Yeah, is he the LeBron James or the Michael Jordan of NASCAR?
That's a good question. It's a question for a different person.
podcasts. Comment in the comment sections. Write down A for Tony Stewart being Michael Jordan or B for LeBron James. Answer that how you please.
So the good order of good things. There's something to be said about rolling up your sleeves and doing good work. You know, Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, you know, Jesus said that like when they see your good works, they'll glorify your God. They'll glorify your Father in heaven. Like the hope is that as Christians we are doing good works, and I think that's one of the things that I'm excited about in Clinton is there's so much room for doing good work and just being enthusiastic about the work. Like, man, there's lost people to share the gospel with and to see come to know Jesus and become spiritual new creations. And there's also so much along with that, like buildings that are falling over and streets to repair and, you know, houses to restore. That's the thing I've been encouraged with is like some of the folks in our church. You know, I'm thinking Josh and Anna Travers, like they are like right now they're working on their house. They're about ready to move in and they've been doing good works. Like they're restoring this old house near the high school, and he took it all the way back to the studs. And now that's going to be a home for his family to live in and flourish and have people over at their table and their neighbors over. Like he's already doing that stuff and they're not even moved in yet. Yeah. And I think that that's so encouraging to me.
I think it's so cool, like to learn about the Eagles Club in just the short research doing before this podcast, but like to kind of carry that torch of the order of good things, and their mission statement is so awesome of like uniting fraternally in the spirit of liberty, truth, justice, and equality to make human life more desirable by lessening its ills and promoting peace, prosperity, gladness, and hope. Like, come on.
Bunch of do-gooders. That's what they were.
That is amazing. Also here it says I'm on their website.
Yeah.
Major accomplishments. Founded Mother's Day. Created the $25 million Fraternal Order of Eagles Diabetes Research Center at the University of Iowa. Come on.
Ooh.
Come on. Go Hawks, baby.
Come on.
Cue the Iowa fight song. Where's Herky? Is he going to come to our... Herky comes to our official launch day at Eagles Club.
Oh. We can make that happen.
Oh, we could totally make that happen.
Find someone with a Herky outfit. This is getting out of control. So, I don't know what else. What else is on your mind, like that excites you about getting into it? Just gathering in a space downtown.
Yeah,
the space.
I think I don't know much about the space and what it was used for. From the loose understanding I have, there's pretty much like 3 to 4 quadrants, I guess.
I knew you were going to say quadrants. I just knew it. I was like, is he going to say quadrants?
I absolutely am going to say quadrant because there's 4.
You've been on spreadsheets all day today.
Slightly. There's like the upstairs was the reception area, so that's kind of where we're going to meet at.
Yeah.
Or not kind of, that's where we're going to meet at. Downstairs, the bingo, and then the other part has the bar, dining? Wait, I don't know, bar area.
Yeah, there's basically... Think of it in two of basically the same thing. There's a event meeting hall and a bar, and upstairs is event meeting hall and bar.
That's a good point.
But the one has a huge kitchen. So the upstairs one has a big old like commercial size kitchen.
I think like a church. I'm just excited to use the space that as a church that's never been used for, a church, to take it and just, I don't know, I'm going to keep coming back to it, but renew it and renew this space and use it for the glory of Jesus. And
right.
I'm excited to see people wander in there and step in. And I mean, kind of like with St. Irenaeus right now, we get people that come in each morning or every Sunday and they're like, I used to go to church here. I'm visiting in town. And it's like you hear these stories of people and just to connect those and rekindle the spirit of Clinton.
That's right.
I think I'm what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. I think it also makes conversations about spiritual renewal very tangible. Like, hey, it's kind of like this. Jesus wants to do this with your heart, like what we're doing here with this building. Mm-hmm. And I also think that rolling up your sleeves and talking about spiritual things, it just seems to sometimes flow better when you're actually like in a place doing work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having a conversation side by side.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking forward to. Not saying that we're going to be in there much doing like a lot of the manual labor of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have been a little bit, but
Just a little, not a lot.
You know, it's not like our church is in there ourselves doing it.
Right, because we don't own the space. Just yeah.
But I think just in the time of us to once we're ready to move in and we're like kind of customizing it as far as just figuring out where things go and how that's going to work and just that kind of do that community building in that and just other members of our church and other people interested in just kind of doing that process with them, and that's going to create, like you said, it's a little more intimate and a lot more meaningful doing it when you're actually doing something together, that when you're both working together for a bigger goal.
Right, exactly.
Cue church planting.
Dude, church planting. I mean, and church planting is so cool because it's like we get to be scrappy. I think every church has permission to do things like this. It just doesn't feel that way when you've been at a church that's 150 years old.
Yeah.
You know, like I talk to people sometimes about, you know, their church wants to pivot and kind of reach new people or do something fresh. And it's like a name change or maybe repainting the walls, or, I mean, it's just like certain things that you're like, that's pulling teeth for a lot of people. It's like doing new things or changing the style of music to contemporary or something. Those things I think are a lot of times just like superficial. And at a church planting is like the community is not rooted anywhere. There's no roots yet. And so everyone's gathering together saying what could happen? What's God going to do with this space? And so not only I think are people willing to be flexible with like what this is going to look like practically, like what color are things, or I don't know, music style. You can talk about music styles. There's a place for that.
Yeah.
But I think in general, like, what is God going to do? Like, who's he going to save? How's he going to save him? Like, gritty sort of relying on the Holy Spirit to make this thing work. I think church planting has a unique opportunity to kind of just get everyone in motion of being dependent on God in all of our work, and being scrappy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that have you felt that way with church planting? Like scrappy?
Yeah. I mean, with us, I've been a part of other church plants, but I wasn't there from the start. So I was more so in like the roots are going up more so than down.
Yeah.
So like this is fun for me to like be part of like the scrappy process and like figuring things out. But yeah.
What else is rolling around in your noggin?
I think I want to let people know, like, if for right now we are still meeting, and if you're like listening to this, you're like, oh, like this Sunday I'll go to Eagles Club. Don't go to the Eagles Club. Hope City Church will not be there. I mean, you're welcome to go there.
You
go
can
next
pull
door.
weeds on the sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are at St. Irenaeus, open to public. Come on in. We'd love to see you.
At 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yes, on Sundays. If you're interested in what this process is for us, or you want to help, or you want to learn more about what we're doing, you can message us on the church, message Nick, message myself, message anyone on our team, and we want to talk with you about this. If you're interested, if you used to be a member at the Eagles Club and this was a huge part of your life, and you have stories about the Eagles Club, we'd love to hear them. Like we're not like tearing out the pages of the past and just rewriting. We want to hear what this building means to people in the community, and we want to share with that with you, and we want to just renew and glorify Jesus in this.
That's right. That's good. Now that you're on the subject about Sunday morning, how would you describe, like, if someone's like, hey, okay, so they meet at St. Irenaeus, what's that like? We've been doing church at St. Irenaeus, gathering on Sunday morning for
2.5 months, 2 months, 2.5 months.
Someone's like, what's that like, Ben? What should I expect when I come to Hope City on Sunday morning? What are they going to experience?
Really intimate, like, family. Because you walk in one door. I mean, it's 2 doors, but like
it's double doors.
You know what I'm saying. But our team is pretty notorious for like hanging out at the front and
notorious.
Like we have a very intentional hospitality team. I would go on record saying we have the most intentional hospitality team In Clinton, state of Iowa, United States, I will bet money on
Most
that.
joyful? We have the most
Absolutely.
joyful hospitality team in the city.
And then just even people that aren't on the hospitality team are just super intentional.
Yeah.
With going in and talking with people and hearing their stories. So, it's not scary. It's super welcoming. It's a beautiful space. It's what it's like is going to spark your imagination. I know for me, the first time we met in there was cool because it's an old church and it's a beautiful building, beautiful church. And like you always talk about it is built to make you realize how big God is, and it's vast. You're supposed to look up, and I think that's like for me, it was a big click for my faith in that season when we first started going there. It was like a big jump forward of like it was just a refreshing time.
Right, because it's totally different than like lights off church.
Yeah. If you come in the summer, you might want to bring like a hand fan.
Like with an old school
like paper
actual
fan, you know, fold it, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's refreshing. Yeah. It's community driven. You're gonna meet people. We're not gonna like shove, conversation down your throat if you don't want to talk. If you just want your space, absolutely. Like we respect you and stuff, but
that's true. There is a lot of space.
Yeah, there's a lot of space. I was trying to think of the right way to phrase that, and I couldn't think of without.
We don't fill the church.
Yeah, we don't. Well, I wasn't thinking that way, but yes, we do not fill this 450 person church.
Yeah, it's a massive sanctuary.
We barely filled 2 pews.
Yeah, there you go. If we jam together.
Yeah. So lots of space. Pick your own seat. Everyone's a VIP.
That's right.
But yeah, I think it's a great space to just wonder and imagine and pray and just I don't know. It's refreshing and renewing. I think is a great space for it because it ties a lot of ancient history and then to a modern church aspect.
Yeah.
So it's it's just really cool. It's really unique.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to say too, now that we're on the subject about what to expect, is so we don't have a kids ministry at St. Irenaeus. There's a couple reasons for that. The number one reason is that we don't have the volunteer capacity for that right now. We love your kids, but we love your kids in the service right now because we just don't have, my wife, she's a stay-at-home mom. She loves our kids. We have 3 kids. My oldest is 6. And so 6, 4, and a little over a year old, and they're a handful. Holly comes in with the bags full of their toys or whatever distractions they need, and she'll go off to the side, talk about space. She goes, she brought a blanket last time I noticed.
Oh, she has had that every week.
She has?
Yeah.
So she brings a blanket, she comes in with the toys, and she goes off to the side of the sanctuary space, kind of in the middle, off to the side. And she'll just set up right there. Mm-hmm. And our youngest will crawl around, and it's fine, it's not a distraction.
We love hearing the kids, it's
right.
If you're hearing kids, I think that's a really healthy church.
I'm not screaming shut up at my own children.
Lady, why don't you get your kids out?
Hey!
No, bring them in. We love them.
But
that is a good disclaimer. We do not have a separate ministries room for Sunday school style. We don't have that yet.
So I do think it's also worth noting too is that it's not convictionally, we don't have a theological conviction that children have to be in the service. Mm-hmm. So this is more out of necessity that they're with us the whole time on Sunday morning. But our conviction is that we want to love our children. We want to help them understand the gospel, understand Jesus. But we also, when we transition into the Eagles Club, we're going to make a decisive move on trying to make space for more kid-tailored programming.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a school of thought out there. Some people call it family integrated. The family integrated movement, which says that families have to be. Have you ever heard of that? By the way,
just from you guys talking about it.
Yeah. So there's this school of thought, right, that the kids have to be in the service on Sundays, and that to have programs tailored to kids is offshoring discipleship, just mailing it in to the pros. And so I don't think that has to be the case. I think when you think about kids ministry, I think we both at Hope City, we both affirm you as parents are your kids as primary disciplers. You're going to play the biggest impact in discipling your kids. But on Sunday mornings, what my heart is that, like my mom was a single mom for a period of my life. And I remember those years. And I can imagine that it was hard on her. And I've seen other single moms as I've been a dad. Like now that I'm older, I'm able to see with more like, man, my wife does a lot being a mom. And I'm imagining my wife doing it on her own. And it's like, there's no way. There's totally no way. And so I think one advantage of kids ministry that happens done by volunteers who love the kids and love being there is that it gives single moms and exhausted people an opportunity to come into a space. And I don't know, I don't want to pretend where everybody's at, but some people might just be completely new to the whole Christian church thing, coming in and they're just worn out. Yeah. And I think this is a way we can serve them. So doing kids ministry is our goal at Eagles Club, but it's going to be simple. There's no bouncy house or ball pit that we're going to install next to the bar. I didn't know this. I know. I shattered your dreams.
I was going to lead the kids ministry team, but now.
You were? If it was going to have ball pits.
Thought it was going to be Jungle Bungle.
Dude, Jungle Bungle.
Dude, right?
Does that still exist?
Yes, it does.
Okay. That you're going to have to.
Next team retreat.
Rip.
Jungle Bungle.
Jungle Bungle. Michael's Fun World. Now that sounds like a treat. 15-year-old Nick would have had a blast.
29-year-old Ben is going to have a blast.
Oh, man.
What was I going to say on that? I think with the kids and the disciple thing, back to that is, I think we are so community driven and we have such an emphasis on community group that the kids will see, like we would definitely not taking away like the advantage of having, this is like a single guy's. So if you don't believe this, that's fine. Like I'm very much not.
Now I'm ready to argue.
Knowledged. Yeah, go for it. Let's
go.
But like we think, like I believe that they will get a more picture of the gospel through watching their families in a community group.
Okay.
And interacting with each other than like having to sit and play a Game Boy on a Sunday morning in church.
Right. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
These kids. Yeah. Look, coming from the preacher's standpoint, when I'm writing my sermon, I'm preaching to adults.
Yeah.
I mean, there's moments where I definitely look like at my own kids, for example, and I'll like maybe make a reference about some silly story, or I'll use illustrations with my kids as examples. But I got to be careful with that stuff too. Like I don't want my kids growing up hating me because I'm always making.
It's always funny to hear the stories. Like my buddy Tom's like dad was a preacher, and it was like the stories that he would tell and stuff.
Right. Funny. So I got to be mindful of that. But yeah, you're right. I think so.
I think I say that more so not to defend our stance on a kidsman because I personally don't know many people of anyone that's gonna argue that. I say it more so to argue for being in a community group.
Right. Yeah.
Like you should be in a community group because this is how your family and your kids is going to experience discipling in gospel family in a community.
Exactly.
And see how that works.
Right. Because in community group in our house, we do the meal. So the kids come in, they eat with us. They have their own little section of our, our dining room.
There's a kids table.
Yeah, it's in this room actually that we're doing the podcast in. This table's not here. They sit there, and then we're right there through that doorway in the dining room, and then we eat right next to them. Mm-hmm. And then when we discuss, they go off and do their own thing. But I think that we just want to be helpful. We want people to become like Jesus. Yeah. And we're not doing it the best way that there probably is, but we're doing a way, and that's going to work for some folks. Yep. And we're just going to stick to the scriptures. We're going to stick to community, and we'll see what the Holy Spirit does. And I think that the Eagles Club, just to bring it full circle back to the Eagles Club, is that projects that have clear goals, like, hey, we're going to try to do this kids ministry in this space that isn't ready for that yet. That's exciting because we don't know exactly how God's going to breathe on that. Yeah. I don't know what that's going to look like. We might hit bumps in the road where it's like, this isn't going to work here. Mm-hmm. Or this is working here that we didn't realize it was going to work here. Like Holly coming in with a bounce house. Like a bounce house, yeah. Yeah. You come in and you drop your kids off. There's a whole, you know those slides? Like you ever see those?
The garbage chute slides?
Yes, the garbage chutes. You see a big old garbage chute coming out of the window. Oh, they must be doing work. Nope. That's how we drop your kids off.
It's like an indoor water park. You just see this like slide coming out of the top window.
Oh yeah, done. There's actually a trampoline, like those black and white, like Charlie Chaplin films where they're running around with like a trampoline. We throw our kids out the window. They bounce off the fireman trampoline. See you later.
And this is a picture of how Jesus catches you every time, right, Timmy? Come on.
Trust fall. Boop. Yeah. You got anything else? This is gonna be a ... to be continued conversation.
I think also for people that are interested, and like really interested, we're still wrapping around the dates and everything, but we're gonna be doing some, I don't want to call them work days, but just getting the space ready. We might be doing a cleaning the kitchen, dusting the floors, that kind of thing. And if you're interested and you want to see the space and you want to help out, just be paying attention to our social pages, probably the best way. Or if you see Nick or anyone around town, or message us, and we can definitely keep you in the loop on that. But that's just another way if you're interested and want to get involved. But just to hammer it home again, if you are listening to this and the Eagles Club means a lot to you in that space, you have stories from there of maybe wedding parties or receptions or whatever, like we want to hear them. We just want to hear about the space, because Nick and I are too young to really know much about have much experience.
I was never in the Eagles Club.
I went in there once just for like 5 seconds. So
yeah,
I think I got kicked out because I wasn't 21.
I bet.
And we just had to go and like get money from like our friend's mom to go to McDonald's or something like that.
The story sounds sketchier and sketchier every time you tell it.
Like sketchy what?
You had to go in and get money at the bar.
Oh,
from this friend's mom character.
Sorry,
there's an old man eating peanuts who's giving you the stink eye, and he looks like Clint Eastwood.
That's almost exactly what happened.
Yeah, I could picture it. Mm-hmm. Also worth noting, the Eagles Club is not turning into a church. Like it's not like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think people who don't know much about what's going on with church planting might be thinking, "Man, this whole building is going to just become the giant steeple is going to just pop out of it. It's going to be a church." Like we don't own it. And so my hope is that, like we can be a part of a positive renewing force. And, when we need to use it, like that's why we pay rent. We're going to use it on our Sunday morning gathering space. But like, I don't know.
It could be used for other things too. We're just we're renting.
Sure.
Yeah, we're just renting part of it. Like,
yeah. So yeah, the communal. I love that call to action for the community. There's no reason some folks couldn't come in and dust and.
You won't be able. And also, if you're listening to this, there's like a bunch of segues. If you're just like listening, if you listen to this, I don't know, middle of the week.
Yeah.
You can't go to Eagles Club tomorrow and knock on the door and like.
There's nobody there.
Nick's gonna be in there. I'm like, yeah, come on in. Like, there's no one there.
No, Facebook message, the church. Is the best way if you want to know more about how you could maybe roll up your sleeves. Because to be totally honest, I don't even have permission to let you into the building.
Yeah.
It's not my building. I don't
We
have
are
the key.
renting.
So
we have no authority over this building. Zero authority.
We're just trying to
except for the authority given to us by Jesus.
The order of good things.
Hear, hear.
That's true. That's a heck of a lot of authority, though.
Just not enough to get us into the building.
Got the keys to heaven and hell.
Got the keys to hell, but not to the Eagles Club.
Well, on that note, George Costanza our way out of here. So if you found this podcast to be helpful, we hope that it stirs your imagination, your heart to live for the glory of Jesus and the joy of Clinton. And if you want to actually know, how can I do that? Like, how can I practically live for the glory of Jesus? How can I practice the way of Jesus, like you guys say? And how can I be for the city, like you guys are talking about? Message us, connect with us, and we'd love to get you connected in some good work.